Two boys who have been working super hard through grand final week, the journos for K-Rock, who toil long and hard to bring us the news first. 95.5 K-Rock for all your news. Inside Footy, get a bit of a run every now and then, and you can pick up the Herald Sun for the odd piece of news as well. But Benjamin William Casanelia has joined us. Round of applause from Inside Footy and K-Rock. And Scotty Gullan, of course, roof over the tool shed, is here from the Herald Sun. Welcome, lads.
Yes, thanks, Smitho. As you would say, the arousal levels are reasonably high. Plenty happening tomorrow. The Cats, I think, maybe the one that got away in 08 to come back tomorrow, a little bit of an unexpected one. If the Cats can get up, I reckon that those memories of 08 might be erased a little bit if it can happen. And all sorts of things happening with, of course, Marvin Aday tomorrow. How will he go, do you reckon?
Marvin Aday?
Yes, also known as Meatloaf.
Oh.
Prefer to call him Marvin. He's not a wet weather performer, but we'll be producing some Paradise by the Dashboard Light, or a couple of other ones like Karma is a Bitch, Mick Malthouse. That's one of his favourites. He's going to be producing that. But looking forward, it should be with the anticipation. I was just listening in the car before, and Cameron Ling got up to do his press conference at the parade and got absolutely howled down. So Collingwood fans obviously out in force, giving it to the Cat fans well and truly before the bounce, Scotty.
Yeah, well, they can do that, Benny, but I think tomorrow the Cats will come to play, and the good news, Mitho, is...
Hey!
I've got good news.
Have you?
Stevie J trained.
Trained?
Got through. There was photos taken through fences. It was all very hush-hush. But he got through, he trained well, had a fitness test, did agility. He may have had a little jab just to help him, so he'll be a bit sore tomorrow, but the mail is another jab tomorrow and he'll play. He will play. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Gee, that's got the girls a bit rowdy over to our left, over the back there. They weren't that fussed about Sheeds, but they love Stevie J, and why wouldn't they? Because he is, well, he's the miracle man. He's the circus music man for us on K-Rock. If he doesn't play, what sort of impact does it have, Scotty? Oh, it's massive, obviously, because he can do stuff others can't. But and then you know, Dasher Milburn might get the fairy tale, but at the moment he's at the parade. He did the parade, even went up there and he said, "I'm 100% as long as I pull up all right." So I think it's all systems go. It's been a miracle effort. He's had 3 days in a hyperbaric chamber, where he was with heaps of old people at this place in Brunswick. He was surrounded by 80-year-old people, and so Stevie's done it hard, but he's got there by the look of it. It's ironic, Mitho, that when Stevie J did the injury last week, it looked like a car crash gone for 12 months. He potentially will probably be going fitter than Ben Reid and Darren Jolly, who have got muscle injuries. I'm not sure there's a lot that can be done for muscle injuries, and they're going to have to carry those. With Stevie J's injury, no structural damage. They can numb the pain. Strap it, and he's probably a reasonable chance to get through the game. Ben Reid and Darren Jolly, on the other hand, if those tears continue to tear, you know, there's a huge question marks over them. And I know, talking to K-Rock's own Mark Neal, that Ben Reid being out is, or potentially out or limited, is a massive, massive blow to the Pies. He pretty much runs their defence, the All-Australian centre-half back, and he potentially is a bigger loss than Jolly. So what's coming out of the Collingwood camp there, Scotty, on those two players, Jolly and Reid? Because look, they looked okay at training, but what's the officers of the Herald Sun got to report? Well, again, they went through their paces today before the parade and looked good again. But like you said, this is a light session. It's a big call from Mick Malthouse, as we know. Last game, it's been all the build-up. He hasn't been shy before at making a call, but Cameron Wood or Darren Jolly. Our mail is, Benny, you witnessed it, that Jolly after last week's game was fairly upset, figured he was gone, basically. So I think he's the one. I think they're more confident Reid will play than Jolly. Well, and Benny, it'd be fair to say that Jolly hasn't been in sparkling form, and it's almost coincided with his trip out to Arizona. It worked for Dane Swan a treat. He won a Brownlow, came back and polled all those votes, but Jolly, it just doesn't seem to have worked for. Yeah, it's interesting too, and after that game last Friday night, I happened to be standing about 3 metres from Darren Jolly, who was talking to his wife, and I couldn't see what Darren Jolly said, but I could see his wife's reaction to what he said, and it was one of a gasp. She was, obviously, he said, you know, I'm badly injured, I'm probably 100 to 1 to play this week, so that was immediately after the game, so he knew then that he was in a lot of trouble, and I doubt 7 days later he's improved too much, even though he trained
probably a Stevie J situation. They probably jab them up to train, see how they go. But those groin, he was moving like a crab towards the end of that preliminary final. So, and big ask against Brad Ottens, who's in sparkling form at 31. He's playing his best footy now, which is what you want to be doing.
That's a ripping insight. Benny Castanelli, of course, in the rooms for K-Rock each and every weekend down there, and you were also in the rooms for the reaction, Geelong's reaction, the night before when they won their preliminary final, and the reaction surrounding Stevie J. And I actually got a sense, we spoke to Tom Lonigan on K-Rock after the game, and Tommy seemed to be giving us the vibe that it was condolences for Stevie J, not he's okay, there's some chance. So things can change pretty quickly when they get the full analysis. But can you just talk us through what you saw in the Geelong rooms after giving us a great insight into the Collingwood room?
It was pretty much like the week before when the players went straight to Daniel Menzel when they after he did the injury against Hawthorn, and that was their first port of call rather than the win. It was the same with Stevie J, probably asking how are you, and we all saw him come onto the ground. I thought Jesus Christ had launched on DCG when that applause. But they obviously went straight to him to see how he was. I mean, I don't think anybody knew at that stage what was going to happen, but nobody expected to see him back out on the ground as well, given the injury had been shown on the scoreboard. So, look, things can change in 7 days, and pretty much it's ironic that every week we hear coaches talk about, we're not going to risk injured players during the home and away, and the instant we get to a grand final, that rule book just goes pretty much straight out the window. You've got to play some blokes who you think at 70% are better than the next bloke at 100%, and I think they think that with Darren Jolly, and definitely with Ben Reid. He's a superstar, Ben Reid.
The other one, Scotty, the big one for Collingwood, and it was announced yesterday, Dane Beam's out of the side. I think one of your colleagues might have tweeted that he was dropped, but in actual fact, well, you can tell us the story. What's the story behind the story? Dane Beam's out of the Collingwood side, and Alex Vasolo, the solo man, is in.
I mean, yeah, there's a bit of cynicism with the dropping or groin injury, but Mick Moldhouse says that he came into his office and he preempted already. He said, I'm out, I can't go, which the kid probably knew. He had 2 kicks in a preliminary final. It's pretty hard to bat up and say you're in good nick for a grand final. So I think he saw it coming and maybe cut it off at the pass. And for Solo, he brings energy, he kicks goals. He looks like a kid who likes the big stage. So probably a good call. He'll start on the sub and come on probably third quarter, I reckon. Didak will start, that's the mail. So Mick's sort of giving him one last chance because he's been terrible.
I would have thought 0 kicks in 3/4 of footy for Dane Beams.
Didn't help.
Probably seals your fate. It doesn't matter if you had a frontal or bottom, you're probably not going to play rather than a groin injury. You're not going to play when you don't get a kick in 3/4.
No, you're probably right there, Benny. And the sub is an interesting one for the Cats too. Mitch Duncan has been the sub the last couple of weeks, has struggled to get into the game playing that role. Benny, have you got any thoughts on what Geelong might do with the sub? I suppose it depends on what Stevie J does, but whether or not he plays. Got any thoughts?
He's probably the only Cat who's been out of form, and I mean, he's only a second-year player, so he's enduring his second year of AFL footy. He's just turned 20. It's a big ask, and he has struggled. He struggled against Hawthorn and was subbed off. He was the sub against Collingwood, against West Coast, and struggled when he came on. He's this type of kid, though. He's probably a little bit like Solo. Talking to Cam Mooney, he's a confident, he's a cocky kid. He probably can come on and take on that big stage and maybe sneak you a couple of goals. And if Stevie J wasn't to play, he probably becomes even more important because he can play that half-forward role. So, look, if Stevie J plays, you'd probably expect to see Mitch Duncan as the sub, and if he doesn't, you'd expect to see Mitch Duncan probably play half-forward.
Well, they're the thoughts of our newsboys who operate long and hard through the AFL 2011 footy season. Scotty Gullan and Ben Castanelli as they mingle round the back of the barriers here. I know both boys like a punt. They said, as long as you get us off before the first leg of the quaddie mytho, we'll get up and have a chat. So we appreciate your efforts. Have a great day tomorrow. Before you get off stage, a tip and a Norm Smith medalist, Scotty Gullan.
Cats will win by 15 points, and I've gone outside the square, the J-Pod at 50-1.
Hey!
J-Pod kicks 6, low scoring affair, gets the middle.
And a fairy tale.
Yes, he was warm-up supervisor a couple of years ago. So
yeah, he was. Benny Cass?
Yeah, the Cats by a couple of goals. I reckon Chappie Chappie might produce tomorrow. He's a hard little bastard who could get 30 and kick 3.
Little ball band to win the Norm Smith medal from Benny Castadelia, and Scotty Gullan's gone for the J-Pod. Both are tipping the Cats in the 2011 Grand Final over Collingwood. We'll take a break, we'll let you get your bets on, and we'll be back with more GMHBA Grand Final Luncheon at K-Rock.